Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord, specifically the Realm of Thrones mod, and we're going to be going through the best mounted archer troops in the game. So I've got 9 of them picked out, and we're going to go through them, talk about their stats, and all that sort of stuff. So let's just get started off with number 9. And so starting us off at number 9, we have a northern troop, so one that comes from the north of Westeros, and it is the Northern Mounted Archer. So the northern troop tree is quite large, as you can see. It spreads across various different paths. That all branch off from the Northern Recruit, because there you can go with the Northern Soldier, Northern Woodsman, Stark Levy, White Harbor Squire, and House Mormont Woodsman. For this one, you're going to want to go with the Northern Woodsman and bring that down through the Bowman, Archer, and then the Mounted Archer. So that's how you get to this one. As far as the loadout, it is the same except for the color of the vest, so nothing else changes. And on that we have a broadsword, a reinforced targe, the simple short bow, and 1 quiver of bodkin arrows. And we have a good horse with pretty solid armor on it, and our troop himself has pretty good armor too. So stats on this one is one-handed of 110, polearm of 80, bow of 130, two-handed of 60, riding of 130, athletics of 80, crossbow 15, and throwing of 80. Only ones that are real important here are one-handed, because we have a one-handed sword and bow, and then riding and athletics, of course. So the Northern Mounted Archer is definitely a solid troop, really great on horseback, and even pretty good on foot. Only weakness is that he only has 1 quiver of arrows, so unlike some people on this list, there's going to be a lot less ammo there. But we also have the sword and shield, so once he's out of arrows, he makes a pretty good melee cavalry unit, or on foot, he can either be an archer or a infantry unit. So Northern Mounted Archer takes the number 9 spot. Let's move on to number 8. So at number 8, we have the Braavosi Scout. Now this is obviously one that can be recruited in the Braavos area in northwestern Essos, and this one is unique in the way that it is a mounted crossbowman. Unlike the last one, we do have 2 quivers here, so we could just go through it. Obviously, you can see pretty solid armor, especially good for an archer. Actually has pretty solid stats all around. There's only 1 set. The horse himself has less armor than the northern one, but it's a pretty good horse. The equipment here, we have the hickory crossbow, so the second best crossbow in the game, 2 bags of heavy bolts, and a fine steel Paramarian sword. So definitely a good loadout there. Very effective on foot and on horseback, so excellent stuff there. As far as the stats for this one, one-handed of 120, polearm of 60, bow of 130, two-handed of 40, riding of 100, athletics of 120, crossbow of 140, and throwing of 40. Only important stats there, one-handed of 120, crossbow of 140, athletics of 120, and riding of 100. So a solid unit. This one is excellent in the field as a skirmisher unit. Very high-powered bow, and 2 quivers makes it plenty of bolts, but it can also be used on foot. Either the horse dies, or if you're using them inside a castle for maybe siege defense, it's an excellent unit. So the Braavosi Scout takes the number 8 spot for the best mounted archers in this mod. Next up at number 7, we have the Riverlands Mounted Ranger, and now this one is another one that, like the North, is going to have a pretty big troop tree. So you can see that out of your basic Riverlands recruit, which obviously come from the Riverlands in Westeros, you have 3 different branches. You can go the Riverlands Footman, Riverlands Bowman, or the House Tully Footman. We're going to want to go down the Riverlands Bowman path and follow that through the Archer, Elite Archer, and Mounted Ranger. And so this one has a pretty solid loadout. I really like this one as a mounted skirmisher. Solid enough armor, only 1 set. The horse himself is a good horse, but doesn't have great armor. So, you know, it's nice and fast, but if it takes too many hits, they'll go down. The loadout is the Knightly Arming Sword, which is a good sword, the simple short bow, which is okay, and then 2 quivers of stacked bodkin arrows. So lots of ammo. You can see the stack amount is 32, so 64 arrows. So the Riverlands Mounted Ranger has a great ammo advantage over a lot of other troops on this list. As far as stats for this one go, one-handed of 120, bow of 140, riding of 130, and athletics of 120. So all around, very good stats. Pretty dang good armor, good weapon, lots of ammo. Solid mounted ranger unit. So that one is number 7. Let's move on to number 6. At number 6, we've got a Dornish troop, the Dornish Sidewinder. So this one can be recruited anywhere down in Dorne. And like the other Westerosi troops, you can see we've got a branching troop tree. So from the Dornish recruit, you can either go with the Dornish Bowman, Dornish Levy, House Martell Levy, or House Ironwood Levy. And we're going to want to go with the Bowman, and then we go down through the Mounted Bowman, Horse Archer, and Sidewinder. This one has pretty solid armor, heavier than the Riverlands or the Northern Archer. Pretty on par with the Braavosi one, so you can see pretty solid stuff there. Horse himself is another good horse, and this one has slightly better armor than a lot of the other ones on this list, so solid stuff there. Once again, we're up in the sword and shield, and then a bow with 1 quiver of arrows. So we do get the stacked step arrows, so 36, but they're there is only one quiver. Fine steel scimitar, so pretty solid weapon for either melee or archer, but obviously for this list we care mostly about the archer prowess. Stats to focus on here: one-handed of 120, bow of 140, riding of 140, and athletics of 130. This one's another one that is an excellent skirmisher, mounted archer type troop to use in the field, but also can work pretty effectively on foot because he's got good one-handed stats, good athletics, and pretty solid armor. So no matter what you're going to do, the Dornish Sidewinder is a pretty solid troop and takes the number 6 spot. At number 5, we have the Dothraki Mounted Bowlord. So this is obviously a troop that can be recruited in the far east of Essos, over in the Dothraki Sea area, and it comes from the Dothraki Nomad, so the basic recruit there. And you can either go through the Tribal Warrior or the Footman. We're going to want to go through the Tribal Warrior, down through the Raider, Horse Archer, Mounted Bowlord. And so this one is definitely lighter armored, not nearly as much body armor on this one, even though, well, I should say appearance-wise, because stat-wise it's not the worst. You can see that even just the body piece there is 20, and so shoulders have 13, so it actually does better protection than it looks. But for our equipment here, I mean, we have a lightly armored horse. It's a fast horse, but it's lightly armored, so if it takes too many hits, it does go down. Our equipment, though, is very good. Got the step recurve bow, which is excellent, 2 quivers of step arrows, so 48 arrows there, and an arak, so works great as a light infantry unit or light melee cavalry, but mostly is going to excel at, of course, being a mounted archer. Stats to focus on here: one-handed of 130, bow of 140, riding of 130. Athletics is relatively low at 90, so that could be a lot better. Honestly, the Dothraki troops are pretty glass cannon-ish. They're really good on horseback, not great on foot. So Dothraki Mounted Bowlord is definitely an excellent mounted archer troop. That's why it takes the number 5 spot. But some of the other ones on this list are more versatile in the way that they're also pretty good on foot, whereas the Dothraki troops really aren't. But yeah, that's number 5. At number 4, we have the Pentoshi Mounted Archer. So this one is going to be another Essos troop, and you're going to get him from Pentosh, so the region over there. This one does not have a branching troop tree like the other one, so it's the standard recruit, and then you go through the cavalry line, and then instead of going for melee, you obviously go for the archer one. Equipment-wise, we've got decently heavy armor, so plenty of protection there. Horse is another pretty good horse. Again, not great armor on the horse. Only thing bad about this one is that we waste a slot. So we have a saber, we have a bow, and we have a quiver of arrows, but we don't have a shield to go with the saber, and we don't have a second quiver of arrows. So one or the other of those would make this troop infinitely better, but as it is, the stats make this one still pretty dang good, which is why it takes the number 4 spot. So you can see our stats over here. We have one-handed of 130, bow of 140, riding of 140, and athletics of 80. So again, not going to be great on foot, but it does make an excellent mounted archer unit. So yes, that is number 4, the Pentoshi Mounted Archer. So at number 3, we have another northern unit, and this one is going to be through one of the other branches of the troop trees. So starting from the northern recruit, you're going to want to go down the House Mormont troop tree. So the Woodsman, the Mormont Huntress, House Mormont Elite Huntress, down to the House Mormont Elite Mounted Huntress. And so this one is an excellent unit. I really love them. They've got a really solid suit of armor that gives them great protection, a great horse with really good armor on it, and then our equipment here, we have the Veteran Warrior Axe, so I love having the axe. It's a great benefit against infantry using shields. Then we have the Step War Bow, which is an excellent bow, one of the best in the game, especially for mounted combat, and 2 quivers of light bodkin arrows, so 3 pierce damage, 21 each, so we have 42 arrows total. So a very, very good unit, well armored, good equipment, plenty of arrows, great horse, great armor, all good around. Stats for this one: one-handed of 130, bow of 150, which is great, riding of 140, and athletics of 130. So this one is another one that is well armored enough and equipped enough to be either used as an infantry unit or a archer unit, and because of the high athletics and the high skills with one-handed and the bow and everything, can be used very, very effectively on foot in siege defense or whatever. So the House Mormont Elite Mounted Huntress is not only one of the best mounted archers in the game, but also makes a very good foot troop. So that is the reason why it takes the number 3 spot. Let's move on to number 2. At number 2, we have the second in line at the end of the noble troop tree for the Dothraki troops. So these ones are going to be ones that you recruit from villages bound to castles in the Dothraki territory. You can recruit their noble troop line and upgrade them through the Noble Son all the way up to the Screamer, which, like I said, is the second to last. This one is an excellent unit, only one set on this one. Great fast horse, but lightly armored. Again, looks very lightly armored, but the stats actually offer quite good protection. We have the Step Warbow, which again is great. 2 quivers of step arrows, so 48 arrows, and the Arak. So again, going to be an excellent mounted archer, not a very good infantry unit. So once they run out of arrows, they're not that great. They work okay as light cavalry, but they get taken out a bit too easy in close quarters, and then on foot they're pretty bad. But stat-wise here, pretty great. Bow of 160, one-handed of 150, riding of 140, and athletics of 110. So at least the athletics here is higher than our other Dothraki Dothraki troop we already looked at. Again, going to be the best type of troops you can have on horseback, but once they're on foot, they're definitely not nearly as good. But that being said, this is a mounted archer list, and that's why the Dothraki Elite Screamer takes number 2. And then it should be no surprise that at number 1 we have another Dothraki troop, and it's just the top of this list, and it's the Dothraki Kallsguard. So this one, again, pretty much the same loadout that we've been seeing for all the Dothraki troops. Looks very light, actually provides pretty good protection. Then we have the Steppe Recurve Bow, which is an excellent bow. 2 quivers of Steppe arrows, so 48 arrows, and the Auroch. As for our stats on this one-handed of 230, bow of 260, riding of 240, athletics of 240. So this one is one that is pretty dang good on his feet. Now, he doesn't have a shield, and his armor is still lighter than a lot of other troops that he's going to come against. So he's not a great infantry unit, but definitely the best mounted archer in the game. And because of the high stats, other than that, you could use him very, very effectively, either attacking castles or defending them, just because, you know, you can't argue with those stats and the amount of arrows and the good bow and everything. So makes an excellent unit no matter what you're using him for, but as far as mounted archers go, you can't beat him. So that is my list of the top 9 best mounted archers in the game. And that is all for today, so we're just gonna leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it useful if you were trying to decide which mounted archers you wanted to focus on. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.